Welcome to this explainer. Look, we all know that absolutely brutal, universal struggle. Waking up feeling totally drained, dragging yourself out of bed, and just feeling utterly exhausted every single day. It is so frustrating, right? It robs you of your potential, messes with your mood, and honestly, it just sucks. But what if I told you it doesn't actually have to be your normal? So let me ask you directly, do you feel tired all the time? If you're nodding your head yes, you are definitely not alone. But listen, we are going to just talk about generic surface level tips today. Our goal here is to decode the actual biological mechanisms behind your daily fatigue. We're going to dive into the hard, undeniable science of sleep, habit formation, and human energy to figure out exactly how we can fix this from the inside out. Okay, so let's kick things off with a pretty staggering baseline statistic. Did you know that over 50% of people routinely get less than 6 hours of sleep a night? And here's the crazy part. Countless studies show that regularly getting less than 6 hours is the cognitive equivalent of being legally drunk. I literally don't mean that as a loose metaphor. If you're functioning on that little sleep, your brain is impaired in the exact same ways. We're talking delayed reaction times, terrible memory recall, and just zero ability to focus. You simply cannot hack your way out of chronic sleep deprivation. So here is our exact roadmap to fix this. 1. The crucial sleep baseline. 2. Mastering your morning routine. 3. Daytime habits and fuel. 4. The perfect wind down. And finally, 5. The ultimate golden rule. Starting right off with section 1, the crucial sleep baseline. So before we even think about tweaking your morning coffee or your evening habits, you absolutely have to aim for 7 to 8 optimal hours of sleep. And a big part of that is honoring your body's specific biological programming. To understand your own baseline, you really need to understand the concept of a chronotype. These are actual, literal genetic differences that make some of us naturally prone to waking up early, the early birds, and others biologically driven to stay up late, are night owls. This isn't just a personal preference. It's not just a bad habit you formed. It is baked right into your DNA. So forcing a natural night owl to fall asleep early, it totally ruins our sleep quality because it violently fights their innate circadian rhythm. And when we compare these early birds to night owls, we actually see a massive biological shift happen during puberty. Teenagers' chronotypes naturally shift to become night owls. This perfectly explains their desperate, groggy exhaustion during early school mornings. Their biology is literally screaming at them that it's the middle of the night. The physiological pressure to sleep is just overwhelming at that age. Now for us, if you have the flexibility as an adult, simply matching your schedule to your natural chronotype will instantly help you feel less tired. Why? Because you're finally working with your biology instead of fighting against it. Moving on to section 2, mastering your morning routine. All right, now that we've got the baseline down, we have to look at the exact moment your alarm goes off. Those first few choices you make literally dictate your energy trajectory for the entire rest of the day. When scientists compare melodic alarms to neutral alarms, the data is exceptionally clear. Studies actually show that melodic alarms, think of slowly building pleasant music, actually reduce your perceived morning grogginess and improve your attention right out of the gate. On the flip side, neutral, jarring, those beep, beep, beep alarms, they are terrible for you. They violently yank you out of sleep in a panic, causing this sudden, massive spike in stress hormones. It leaves you feeling rattled and exhausted before your feet even hit the floor. So do your brain a massive favor and go for a melody. Now, the absolutely crucial point here is avoiding something called sleep inertia. This is that intense, heavy, awful, groggy feeling you get when you're woken up in the middle of a deep sleep cycle. And this is why hitting the snooze button is a massive trap. Snoozing essentially tells your body, hey, restart a sleep cycle, and your brain starts heading rapidly back toward deep sleep. So when that alarm rings again just a few minutes later, you're ripping yourself out of that cycle mid-descent, causing severe sleep inertia. Seriously, do not hit snooze. It is just the absolute worst way to start your day. Instead of snoozing, try following this ultimate first 30-minute timeline. Wake up gently to a melodic alarm. Then immediately engage in just 30 seconds of physical activity. Research shows this triggers what's called a cortisol awakening response. Now, a spike in cortisol at night is bad, but a targeted spike in the morning, it's highly beneficial because it clears away the brain fog and gives you a really quick burst of alertness. Next up, hydrate immediately. You haven't had fluids in hours, and water boosts your cognition and mood almost instantly. Finally, get some bright sunlight, ideally natural daylight for about 30 minutes. This firmly locks in your circadian rhythm and signals to your brain that the day has officially begun. Which brings us to section 3, daytime habits and fuel. Moving right along chronologically throughout our day, what we consume and how we move while we're awake directly dictates our ongoing energy levels. And of course, how well we're going to sleep later that night. To really understand daytime energy, you just need to understand this single word, adenosine. This is a compound that naturally accumulates in your brain throughout the day. Think of it kind of like a biological sleep pressure that builds and builds over the 16 or so hours you are awake, ultimately making you feel sleepier and sleepier. So why do we all love caffeine so much? Well, because caffeine is essentially a biological cheat code. It literally binds to these exact same adenosine receptors in your brain, acting as a blockade so your brain temporarily completely ignores the tired feeling. But here's the catch. Caffeine has a massive 6-hour half-life. That means if you have a full cup of coffee at, say, 6 p.m., by midnight, your body still has 50% of that caffeine actively buzzing around in your system. You're basically trying to sleep with half a cup of coffee directly impacting your sleep architecture. It actively suppresses the deep restorative stages of sleep, leaving you totally unrefreshed the next day. So keep the coffee to the morning and midday, and you'll see a massive improvement. Let's look really quickly at some other key daytime fuel roles. Your diet absolutely matters. Avoid high sugar and low fiber diets. Research finds that consuming too much sugar causes extreme fluctuations in blood glucose, which directly results in more night awakenings and poor quality non-REM sleep. Exercise is also an absolute game changer. Getting some resistance training or cardio in drastically increases your overall sleep quality and total sleep time. Now, if you are a napper, cap them at 20 to 30 minutes to make sure you don't enter deep sleep and wake up with that dreadful sleep inertia we talked about. And finally, absolutely no napping after 3 p.m. Doing that relieves the adenosine sleep pressure we just discussed, which will completely ruin your ability to fall asleep later on. All right, section 4, the perfect wind down. As the sun sets, we enter the wind down phase, and we need to debunk some major evening myths here to set up the ideal pre-sleep hygiene to ensure rapid, deep rest. I need you to hear this loud and clear. Alcohol is sleep's worst enemy. It's actually wildly ironic that we tend to drink in the evenings to relax because while alcohol might act as a sedative to help you lose consciousness faster, it totally destroys the restorative quality of the sleep itself. A nightcap robs you of vital REM sleep. It traps you in the lighter sleep stages, and it can even severely impair your breathing. If you drink before bed, you are virtually guaranteeing that you will wake up drained. So instead of a drink, try this incredible temperature trick. Step 1, take a warm shower or bath before bed. Step 2, step out into your room and let your body radiate that heat. Step 3, because you are radiating heat outward, your internal core body temperature actually starts to drop. And step 4, your brain begins to feel naturally sleepy. This is biologically sound because your body actually needs to drop its core temperature by a couple of degrees to initiate and sustain sleep. This brilliant little trick perfectly mimics the body's natural physiological temperature drop. And that brings us to the ultimate bedroom setup. Keep your environment dark and cool to support that core temperature drop. You gotta ban all gadgets from the bedroom. Seriously, the blue light tricks your brain into thinking it's daytime, and honestly, just having them nearby keeps your mind actively engaged on high alert. Also, turn bright clocks completely away from you. Why? Well, if you wake up in the middle of the night and check the time, usually trigger an anxiety-inducing cortisol spike that completely ruins your chances of falling back asleep. And lastly, if you're lying awake in bed for more than 30 minutes, get up. If you just stay in bed tossing and turning, your brain will start associating your bed with anxiety and wakefulness rather than sleep. Just go do something relaxing in dim light until you're actually sleepy, then head back to bed. Finally, section 5, the ultimate golden rule. We have officially arrived at the climax of this explainer. If you completely ignore everything else we just talked about and take away just one single habit to transform your energy, let it be this: strict consistency. You absolutely must go to bed and wake up at the exact same time every single day. I really want to emphasize this powerful sentiment drawn directly from the research. If you can't follow any other tips, I suggest this one. Creating a routine will set up your body to work like literal clockwork. Listen, even if you fall totally off track with your diet or you miss a week of workouts, a rigid, consistent schedule trains your body to know exactly when to shut down, exactly when to initiate its morning routine, and when it needs peak energy. It is the single most impactful, non-negotiable habit you can implement for your daily vitality. So I'm going to leave you with this final, vital question so you can confidently take back your energy starting right now. What time will you commit to going to bed tonight? Pick a time, set the schedule, ditch that snooze button, and enjoy having your energy back. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will catch you on the next one.